Hey, what's going on? It's Bebop here. Today's video is going to be about the Rapier and the Musket. All right, my favorite combo in the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gear, and I will explain some different ways to set this up. Now, if I was setting this up, let's say for Barnacles, Barnacles is ice this week. Notice up here on the right, I have all ice gems and every piece of gear and jewelry. That's exactly what you would copy and paste toward your whatever loadout you're going to go with. Okay. Now, so don't pay attention to the gem set here, but let's go over the gear. What do you want with a Rapier and Musket? Well, a lot of times with the Rapier Musket, you'll be evade Rapier. You could also be a bleed Rapier player. So you'll have two different attribute settings, but the gear will pretty much be the same. Now, if we look at the gear here, omnidirectional evade, plus 11% damage for 2 seconds after using evade. On a 725 piece, it is 12%. Now, this is really good. So every time I evade, right here, I have empowerment, as you see there. Okay, if I don't have that piece on, I do not have the empowerment when I evade. Okay, so that piece will give you empowerment and have you do an extra light attack damage, or auto damage is what they call it, 11% after you evade. So you would evade, light attack, then you flurry, light attack, evade, light attack, flurry, light attack. This is the evade Rapier. The only time you use riposte is if you're about to take a big hit. It'll block 100% of the damage, and you can return hit a strike to the enemy. Now, if we look at the chest piece, I have empowering shooter stance. This will help with the musket. It stacks up to 4 stacks, but here, let's read it here. Hitting a target with shooter stance grants a stack of empower, increasing damage by 11% for 6 seconds. Effect is removed when stance is exited, max 4 stacks. So this is going to help you hit empower cap really quickly, which I believe one headshot with the musket and empowering shooter stance, you should be at empower cap. And then that's gonna, help you do a lot more damage. If we look at this piece right here, Leeching Flurry, have one of these pieces on your clothing. Also with the Rapier, it's a must-have. It's the second most OP perk in the game. Heal for 32% of the damage dealt by Flurry. Okay, you're gonna be healing yourself a lot. I have a Toon Leather pants on, up to 725. Last piece, it's Freedom, Enchanted Ward, and Health. Freedom is going to help with any ice mutation or nature mutation where you're getting rooted. That way you can get out of being rooted quicker if you don't have a purifying toast earring on, or if you don't have Relentless Freedom like a greatsword or something like that. Obviously with this setup we wouldn't have that, so it would help. We're already 4 out of 4 refreshing, as you can see here with the Rapier. That is an absolute must. And let's go over the Rapier. We have Disdain Inflictions, the only perk to really put on here. So it's called Poisonous Nectar is the craft mod. Then I have the Sandborn Musket. Has Vicious. I put Refreshing Power Shot on there, and Vorpal. Okay, I can't wait to test this out in Savage, hopefully next week. But all you got to do is just go in a public recruitment and you just type in, X worm. You get a bunch of randoms together. And you just go do the worm real quick. They all got, high con, so, they'll never die. And, we all know a dead DPS doesn't do DPS, right? So, you just do that real quickly. And once you get that done, you'll be able to, well, you got to do it twice, 2 weeks combined, to be able to craft the Doomborn Vent. And that has the illegal perk combo, the Vicious and Vorpal. Now, with the Heart Rune, I go with Cunning Firestorm pretty much all the time. Anytime I use the kick, is what it's called, I will have empowerment. So the empowerment there, plus an empowering toast earring, and then get into my shooter stance and start doing that. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty nasty. All right, the amulet, empowered, divine, and whatever protection for whatever you're doing. That way it lasts 34% longer. Thrust, leeching, and Heidi. And then empowering toast, refreshing toast, nimble. Now, what are your attribute settings? Well, let's look at that. I go 25 strength for the extra auto attack damage, the 5%, 350 dex. So we have the higher bleeds for the bleed Rapier. Bleed Rapier is going to be 350 int, and then 25 focus, 25 strength, and the rest dex. But with this evade rapier setup with the musket, you're going to be 25, 350, 25 focus, 25 con, 50 con, 75 con, whatever you want to do here. I would never recommend going above really 50 con, but like 75 con. If you find yourself in M3s dying a lot, then you're going to really need to kind of reevaluate where you are. And I'll just leave it at that. All right. So you would take your food. Say we have intelligence food. I'm just going to take a little 36er. Actually, I don't think I have a 36er. So let's just, oh yeah, right here. Increase intelligence. So here we go. We're getting up there a little bit better. That way we can maximize our damage somewhat. And then I'm going to take a honing stone. You can choose whether you want the powerful, the common, or the strong. And then you could take your, you know, your ward pods. Let's say you're out here killing mammoths and you want to take your ward pods there. In dungeons, you're going to want to take Desert Sunrise, so don't forget that. And then also, let's look at the weapon skill tree here. With the rapier, the evade rapier, I have mine set up like this. Feel free to add or remove some dots if you want on this side at least. But this side will pretty much be mandatory all the time for the evade rapier. You could choose to have this or whatnot. If you run the the winged leather shoes, then you can have this on, so you always have haste, and that way you're doing 10% more damage. It's a really good build to have also. A lot of people run attuned leather pants because the extra attributes everywhere, but if you have the winged leather shoes and that's what you want to run, there is, you know, no downside. It actually might even be more DPS than the attuned leather pants. I'm not sure. Without the dummies being up, can't really test it. With the musket here, I run shooter stance, and I also run powder burn, and I run power shot. All right, you will start off with power shot, and you will rotate to the powder burn, and that way you get your most damage, because the power shot dot underneath is gaining power, increasing damage by 10% for 5 seconds. And you also deal 10% additional damage to targets with full health. Then you rotate the powder burn, and any standard shot after that deals an 8% additional damage by hitting a burning target. Okay, you'll have a stackable damage multiplier right here. 2.5 base damage increase. It'll stack 6 times. You'll see it on the bar at the very bottom. Right here, musket shots deal 10% increased base damage to targets 20 meters or further away. Also deals 5 increased base damage to targets within 50 meters. You want to be more than 20, but inside 50 meters for ultimate damage. Grants 15% damage to all headshots. If multiple targets are hit, which is 2 or more, not 3 or more, with a single musket attack, the next shot within 3 seconds inflicts bleed to all targets it passes through, dealing 15% weapon damage every second for 5 seconds. For an in-depth breakdown of the musket, I have that video on my channel. For a in-depth review over the rapier and the 3 different builds you can go with, you can look that up also. With the evade build, all you're going to do is evade, auto, flurry, auto, evade, auto, flurry, auto, evade, auto, flurry, auto, evade, auto, riposte to block the damage, evade, auto, flurry, and then auto, riposte to block damage, auto. Anytime you use an ability, you'll do a light attack afterwards, okay? And you can see how good the leeching flurry is. I can really regain health really quickly. It's just really fast damage, and you don't have to really worry about dying too much unless you get too many mobs on you. And you can flurry through the abilities. It has grit. It's just such a good loadout in the game. Now that is the evade rapier with musket. Now another way to use the musket is with accelerated traps if you're trying to move quickly. That's going to be in a different video. That's not really what I use. There's no speed runs for me to really run anymore. Most of the groups that I used to run with, they don't even play anymore. So I really just enjoy the shooter stance and just trying to hit big damage numbers. It's more fun. So I will explain the other various ways. And if you look up the musket video, it shows you all the in-depth ways to use the musket. So I do appreciate y'all stopping by. If you came from the stream through the link, I appreciate you. If you're new here, please think about subscribing and give it a like if you found it helpful. I'll see y'all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.